value-centric approach that it's a pleasure to invite in Kate Armstrong. Kate is the project lead at a wonderful project called Distributed Design Market Platform that's led over at the Fab Lab Barcelona IAC, the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, where she's been articulating the community and communications of the Fab City Global Initiative. The Distributed Design Market Platform has been engaging cultural initiatives around Europe, I think with over 15 partners, exploring exactly the question about business models in different countries around Europe. So over to you, Kate. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm actually really excited that I get to join the conversation today, because it's conversations like this that the distributed design platform actually is all about. So we're really developing a space for basically this kind of cultural necessity that comes with this new paradigm that we speak about, which is distributed manufacturing and design for that space. So the platform that I coordinate is a Creative Europe funded platform. It's part of the Creative Europe program of the European Union, and it's what we call a cascading platform. So we are the coordinators of a network of 15 other members, to be 17 next year. And this means that each of our members are working locally to deliver local events inside their makerspaces, cultural centres, cultural hubs, that are all around the idea of progressing what distributed design is and can be. And one of the things that we're really interested in is what it means in terms of how makers actually scale products to a market or to potential markets, but also in what other skills makers and designers need to actually be able to compete and develop their own work and develop their products in that market. So it kind of obviously was born out of the maker movement. I think most of us here are from this world. And, you know, it was kind of looking at, well, what is coming out of the maker spaces, Fab Labs, Fab Academy, these kinds of programs in terms of design? And then how can we actually look at these to make them maybe more, you know, tech ready, or, you know, the societal readiness of these products? And how can we actually also articulate a whole space for those to exist inside the design field? So we run all sorts of events and activities to support makers and designers in this field. As I said, it's Europe-wide, so we run everything from, you know, Portugal, Lisbon to Iceland in the north. So we run a very wide range of different projects, and we get to see a lot of different practices and a lot of different evidences coming from the network, which is very interesting. And I think I'll probably focus most of what I talk about today around that, because I see that can really be something that we can contribute to the conversation. But as I said, basically this field of what we are calling distributed design is coming with a whole breadth of parameters and different variables, which both Johns have talked about already. And I think that this is going to be something that's really key to the conversation today, is really that this is new in a way, you know, where we're really kind of testing and playing and prototyping, which we do well in the maker movement, to understand what this new space holds and how we can actually develop a space for makers and designers to work in what we like to call a post-industrial paradigm. So we kind of have this idea that, you know, this brings hyper customization, new aesthetics, new potentials for working these kinds of elements to practice. And of course, it also brings new business models, new ways of making money, new skills that maybe we need. So yeah, all of this is involved in our work. So I'm going to open a huge can of worms here and say we're open to all conversations. But what we see a lot arising from the network is conversations around, well, if it's open source, how do I make money? How do I put food on my table? How do I pay my studio costs? How do I, you know, keep up my website and these kinds of things? So I hope we can talk about that today, because I think it's really interesting, and those are the experiences of makers. And the other thing we see coming out of the network is that to be able to kind of fund projects, or to be able to find funding for projects, it's not just about having a great project. It's also about having the skills to talk about your project, having the skills to package your project. Maybe you need to be able to make some kind of communications or present or pitch your project. So I think the other thing is that the skills that are needed inside this field are very, very diverse. And sometimes it's about having those skills yourself, and other times it's about having the tools to collaborate with others, to be able to bring in a network and work in a networked fashion so that you can have kind of a diverse set of skills around you to be able to do that. Yeah, so in terms of this inside COVID, we've had incredible response. We're kind of like John, we woke up one day, we're trying to tell people, yes, well, you know, distributed design is X, Y, and Z. And then suddenly it's like, well, thank you very much. I know that it's a terrible thing, but in some ways COVID can be a bit of a blessing. And this is one of those times. Because yeah, suddenly, you know, the work that our network was doing has been picked up by, you know, Anne Hidalgo, the mayor of Paris, for example, you know, is tweeting and talking about the work that's being done. So these kinds of things is very helpful, but I think it also opens up a lot of questions for the longevity of work in this field. How can we sustain this, and how can we build skills into our makers and designers to be able to sustain it? So I'm going to just maybe wrap it there, and then we can obviously discuss more after.
Lovely. Thank you, Kate. Really, really powerful perspectives.